Thank you so very much. At this time, we will yield the floor to our brother Rodney Shorter for our history. God bless you.
I read the brochure, and I told Brother Flippin, I said, all I have to do is read the brochure. I don't really need to say anything else. Just open the brochure to Juneteenth. I've lived in Texas. And when I first moved down there, it was with the military. And everybody in Killeen, Texas, when it was time for this celebration, started talking about Juneteenth. And that was over 20 years ago. I'd never heard of Juneteenth up until that time. I was like, what are y'all talking about? And so, but these people knew what they were talking about. And they told me what they were going to do to celebrate and how they were going to celebrate and to come on down. So it's something very heartfelt, at least in that part of Texas that I was at. It's a holiday in the United States that commemorates and announces the abolition of slavery in the U.S. state of Texas in 1865, and more generally, the emancipation of African American citizens throughout the United States, celebrated on June 19th. It's a holiday or a special day of observance in most states. The holiday is observed primarily in local celebrations. Traditions include public reading as the Emancipation Proclamation, singing traditional songs such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and Lift Every Voice and Sing, and readings by African American writers such as Maya Angelou and Ralph Ellison. Celebrations sometimes take the form of parades, rodeos, street fairs, cookouts, family reunions, park parties, historical reenactments, or Miss Juneteenth contests. During the Civil War, when President Lincoln issued his Emancipation Proclamation on September the 22nd in 1862, with the effective date of January the 1st, 1863, although it was declared that the slaves were to be freed in the Confederate States in rebellion. This was not the states that were in the Union. That came later. In the rebellion against the federal government, it had a minimal actual effect. Even after the ending of military hostilities as part of the former Confederacy, Texas did not act to comply with the Emancipation Proclamation. So on June 18, 1865, Union General Gordon Granger and 2,000 federal troops arrived on the island of Galveston, Texas, to take possession of the state and enforce the emancipation of its slaves. And on June 19th, standing on the balcony of Galveston Ashton Villa, Granger read the contents of General Order Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. And the connection hereto existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect a military post, and they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. Now, these former slave owners, they were not paid for the release of their slaves, so they got no monies. Okay. Former slaves in Galveston rejoiced in the streets. Juneteenth celebrations began in Texas the following year across many parts of Texas. Freed people pooled their funds to purchase land specifically for their communities, and increasingly large Juneteenth gatherings, including Houston's Emancipation Park, Mexico's Booker T. Washington Park, and Emancipation Park in Austin. Economic and cultural forces led to the decline in Juneteenth celebrations in the early 20th century. The Depression forced many blacks off farms and into the cities to find work. In these urban environments, employers were less eager to grant leaves to celebrate this day, and a rise in patriotism among African American people steered more toward July 4th as Independence Day. But the civil rights movement of the 1950s and the 1960s focused the attention of African American youth instead of on the struggle of racial equality. but many are also linked, these struggles, to the historical struggles of our ancestors. And observance has spread to many states. And I would like to read some of these states, because some of us just may not know how widespread it is. And it's also in some other countries. As of May 13th, 43 U.S. states and the District of Columbia have recognized Juneteenth as either a state holiday or a special day of observance. These are Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, and I've lived in Maine, not too many black folks in there. Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, and West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. In 1996, the first legislation to recognize Juneteenth Independence Day was introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives, H.J. Resolution 195, sponsored by Barbara Rose Collins. In 1997, Congress recognized the day through Senate Joint Resolution 11 and House Joint Resolution 56. In 2013, the U.S. Senate passed Senate Resolution 175, acknowledging Lula Briggs Galloway, late president of the National Association of Juneteenth Lineage, who successfully worked to bring national recognition to Juneteenth Independence Day, and the continued leadership of the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. All right, that's what I've got from the history of.
Thank you so much, our brother Rodney Shorter. Thank you. Job well done. Very power-packed, informative history of our Juneteenth celebration. At this time, we're going to sing our Negro National Anthem. We have with us Smooth and Sweet, amen, musical group that's going to assist us as we sing our Negro National Anthem. I would ask my wife to come. We sing it every year at a new beginning during Black History Month. So we're familiar with how it ought to be sang. Lift every voice.